Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Marshall Lee of Donkey Jaw Projects, and this is the Early Bird Artcast, episode 2. It's been a while. I started it up a couple weeks ago, and I've done other videos since then, but not quite the Early Bird Artcast. And, this is just kind of going to be a thing where it's just my live show. That I do. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that because I might do live shows that aren't early in the morning, but this is my early morning live show, and I'm going to try to do these as much as I possibly can. And I'd like to have other people on as well, to, to kind of, just hang out and discuss things. I have about an hour before work some days, and it's going to be kind of random. I may or may not get to a few every week, or it could go. I'm not promising any specific time or anything, but I'd love to, if there's anybody else out there who's up at 5:30 a.m. Eastern time. That's around the time I'll probably be starting these, possibly sometimes earlier than that. But and then I'll get about an hour in, and then I have to go to work. But I'd love to have some discussions with other art buddies and stuff, and hang out and talk about different topics, and just regular life and stuff. And I don't want it to just be like me sitting here drawing and you guys being bored, which is might be what happens today. I don't know. I'd like to, as I do these, I'm gonna start to be a little more prepared with at least some kind of topic or something to talk about. So yeah, and if you have any suggestions of things for me to talk about, I'd love to hear them. Uh, as I take a sip of coffee. um, yeah, I'd love to hear your suggestions. I'm gonna take off the color layer here in the gray tones. So yeah, I really have been enjoying Ethan Van Sciver's morning shows, which have been coming out later and later lately. But I think he's just kind of going through a few different changes of how he's doing things. But I hope he continues, and it reminds me of the art casters that Jeff Lafferty started, and he used to do it as a morning show almost pretty much every single day, especially weekdays. And I used to love that, and I wish he was still doing that. And that's basically what Ethan Van Sciver's been doing. And he gets some of his buddies to come on. So a lot of times, sometimes he doesn't, And that's kind of what I'd like to do, have something that people can look forward to. Well, I say that, but again, like I said, I can't promise I'm going to do it every day, which that's the only thing that sucks. Because I would like to be, I would love it to be something that people look forward to every day. Um, but unfortunately, I just don't have the ability to do that. It's just some days I can't. Every Monday I do the Making Comics with Marsh and Chris show with Chris, so that can kind of be part of it. But every other week it's on Chris's channel, so you know I can only do kind of so much with that. Um, well, I shouldn't say it. I mean, it's just every other Monday. It's not, you're definitely not gonna get a video um, for this kind of thing. But also, I may do live streams other times of the day, so I guess I can kind of hit you with that too, if you're interested. If it seems like people are not feeling this, then I might not do it. I don't know. Um, it is really what you guys want as my subscribers. Let me take another sip here. But yeah, a lot of the comic skate people, they do these live shows, and I've done many of them in the past, and it's just inspired me to do it again, you know, because it's fun and I like to chat with people. And yeah, so I'm gonna start creating a list, I think, of people, who, if whoever says they kind of would like to be part of this, if they're interested. um I think I'm gonna start like a list of people and probably make a DM group in Facebook or something. And you know, I wonder if I could do it on YouTube, because I know they have that kind of section, but I never used the YouTube messaging system because it's kind of a pain in the butt. Or like I don't see the notifications, and it just doesn't seem like something that actually people use. I don't know. Let me know. Do you guys use that? But yeah, I'll probably make a list and put it on like a Facebook DM where I can send the link out whenever I am live streaming and people can come on and chat with me. You I'm assuming that's kind of how they do it. Um, with Ethan and other people's shows, because the thing is I've done that before, but I always have to like explain to people, hey, this is going to be, public, this blah blah blah. I want to make a list where people know, you know that this is random, this is public, and if you happen to be available and want to chat, then that's what this is. When I send the link, you're going to be, live. And so yeah. So right now I am just resizing the thumbnail part a little bit, because I want to I just want his head to be smaller there. So yeah, should I move it a little bit? I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep it there because I want to be able to show his hand coming up a little bit more. So kind of wish I put the comic in the other hand here on the panel above, because then that way it'll kind of imply movement. And I could still kind of work with that by putting the hand in back in the smaller panel. I'm not sure. I guess I could give that a try. Why not? All right, give that a shot. See what happens. Hey James, how you doing? So I don't know if you heard what I was just saying, but I know you always come by when you see the live streams and stuff, but you're more than welcome to come on sometime. I'm gonna start doing these randomly, and I'm gonna make a list of people um, to come on and hang out with me and chat and stuff about comics and art and whatever else, just life, when I do these videos. So if you're interested in being added to that list, and then I'll just put the link out, and people know they can come on live if they want. Um, but I'd love to have you, man, if you were interested. Um, if not, that's totally cool too. But I'd love to get some discussion that's not just me while I'm doing these. Excuse me. I've been getting like this frog in my throat the last couple days, early in the morning. All right. Hopefully that helped. So how's things been, man? Um, yeah, I'm just working on these comics. I'm still not sure what line weight to use. I gotta get on the right layer too. That would be nice. Yeah, I was talking to Chris yesterday about the line weight situation, and yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. It's hard for me to know what like I switch between line weights sometimes, and I get kind of confused on which line weight I should use, like with figures in the panel, and like what I should use for borders and for word balloons and all that stuff. So I don't know. I guess I'll get used to it the more I and figure it out the more I make these comics digitally. The next comic is gonna be probably probably not digital. I'd be happy to. I just have to get a setup that would work for streaming. Cool, man. I mean, you can also use like your phone or something. If you have like a smartphone, you might be able to use that. Or like an iPad. I think people are streaming from that too, with Google Hangouts. I'm not quite sure how everybody does it, but I'm pretty sure I heard somebody talking about using their iPad the other day, or maybe other tablets too. Am I drawing at print size? Yeah, these are 11 by 17. What's up, Dave? How you doing? By the way, how's your situation been going? You were having those computer problems. Were you able to recover those files at all, or and of course, you're more than welcome to come on the show too if you want at any point. I'm gonna add James to the list. Are you James GSR on Facebook? I'm not sure if I'm connected to you on Facebook or not. I forget. But I'm gonna probably do it through Facebook DMs if that makes sense, or maybe there's a better way. I don't know, but that's the way I tend to communicate with people and share links for Hangouts and stuff. Keep the line size box open and change it often depending on what I'm drawing. Okay, gotcha. That's what he does. Yeah, that's kind of what I do too, I guess. But I want to get consistent because for some reason I keep drawing in different line weights by accident. So I just have to kind of keep in my mind, okay, this is the size I use for this. This is the size I do for that, and just keep better tabs on it. I bought some deleter paper, manga ruled out comic pages to draw on, and that should be coming in the mail actually today. Um, so I'm excited to start playing with that. The thing is I have time to work on my comics like at work during lunch and stuff, and different times when I don't have access um, to my computer. And so I'm thinking, I could always have one digital comic going and one physical comic going. And when I don't have access to the computer, but I have time, which is a lot, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but it comes up almost on a daily basis to at least a little bit. I can be getting two comics done, and that would be awesome. So I shared some sketches and an old drawing of the character I'm going to be doing next. I'm really excited about it. And once I get those physical pages in, I'll probably start in on that. I mean, I still have to write it, but I'll probably end up writing it today. Um, hopefully. I already kind of have an idea of what I want to do, so I don't think it'll be hard to write this thing. Um, but it's this character called Corn Cob Rob, and it's gonna be me playing around with like punk rock, basically, to a certain extent. But it's a really cool, I think, idea, and it's just fun, and also, I don't know, it's like a goofy character that's gonna be like a hardcore character, which is kind of interesting, I think. Doo doo doo. Unfortunately, it's not looking like data can be recovered. That sucks, man. That so sucks. Putting a comic on hiatus. Wow. I hate to hear that, man. I'm sorry you lost that information and the all that work. Yeah. Well, this is the time I'll be doing it for about an hour. Whenever I can. But I might also randomly do it. I want it to be this list where I can, I'll put the link in, if I randomly do a live stream. And if you happen to be available, cool. Like, this isn't like something I'm going to be scheduling. Um, so, you know, and if you feel like coming in, cool. If you don't, cool. But if you want me to add you to the list, yeah, Dave, let me know. I will add you. I mean, it sounds like you're willing if you can. So again, I'll be doing this probably on Facebook. Um, you're on Instagram. James is on Instagram and ArtStation. We already have a chat going on Facebook Messenger. I forgot which name it's under. I'll message you later today. Cool. Yeah, I'll probably do Facebook because most people are on Facebook, even if they just have an account but don't go on there. Corn cob guy. I love the line quality for it. Thanks, man. Yeah, that was just, I don't know. I created him a long time ago. It was actually Corn Cob Rob was actually meant for um, when I was doing like designer toy stuff, like kind of playing around with that realm and doing like resin molds and stuff. um, I there's this what are they called again? It's been a while. There was this group of like kind of veteran toy makers, but they had a YouTube show. It was so fun, and I don't know if they still have it or not. I know that it was a couple and they divorced, um, sadly, but they both seem to be have moved on pretty quickly. I don't know anything about what happened, but anyways, um, they both I think got married like super quick after that again. So I think or got together with somebody. But it sucked because they were kind of a fun couple, and I don't know, they did some cool stuff. Anyways, they have these like what do you call them? Like what are those characters? Trying to think. They used to come in a bag, or well, no, they didn't come in a bag. I don't. Oh, they were like the muscle, like the MUSCLE or whatever. Like it was an acronym. Um, those little figures, those little like pink rubber figures. These guys did like a line of their own version of that, and they would come like five in a 5 pack, and they'd get like one or two out a year, I think. And it was like they would take designs from people, other artists, like who wanted to be part of it. And I think it was no, not DKE Toys. That was one of their friends or whatever. I'm trying to think. It's been so long. But so I did a bunch of designs, to possibly be in that, and that would have just been so cool. And Corn Cob Rob was one of them. and it didn't get accepted. And also, I actually stopped being part of their like group because some stuff was happening. A friend of mine was getting kind of not harassed, but like they weren't being treated well in the forums. Not, I don't want to get into it too much, but um, and so I kind of stopped being part of that, even though I really liked what they were doing, and I still support them and think they're cool. But it wasn't cool to see like my friend get kind of what I thought was unfair treatment or whatever. So it is what it is. So anyways, this character Corn Cob Rob, please add me to the list. Okay, we'll do. Um, he was a design for that, and it was just fun. A goofy hardcore punk rock guy. Sounds like me in high school. That's funny. Yeah, I don't. I I'm not super like. I love punk. I'm inspired by it like crazy, but I haven't spent a lot of time with it. I was so much into hip hop, and I knew some. I had some punk rock friends who were really into that, and um, but I mostly just was all about the hip hop, and throughout the years, I've just here and there checked out punk stuff, and especially from chatting and stuff with Kevin Cross and just hearing him talk about it sometimes on podcasts and whatnot back in the days. I dug into punk more and more here and there, and still, it's just once in a while I kind of just dive in for a while. Um, but I always forget like characters with glasses. I forget to draw the glasses sometimes. But but yeah, so I love it. I'm super inspired by it. Like I want to make to the point where like I kind of want to make punk music, or at least like a punk version of the hip hop music I make or whatever. And so that kind of stuff I think will be coming because I am that inspired. Like it has to happen at some point. Um, but for now, this comic is going to be like my way to play around with the punk stuff, and I just love the whole like DIY attitude. I love a lot of the ideology that kind of comes along with it. There's certain parts I'm not super into, like the kind of super anarchy type stuff. I'm not super into, but I get it. Like the stuff that's more like the troublemaker side of punk, I guess. It's not, I'm not into that so much, but there's so much you can get from the whole kind of punk ideology and stuff that is, I think, helpful. Like the I don't give a F, that kind of thing. That's actually helpful, I think, you know, in creativity and like, I guess, entrepreneurialism. I think the punk ideology is very entrepreneurial, actually, but it hates you know, the corporate structure of things, but it's still very entrepreneurial, like the whole DIY thing. I don't really, I wish there was like a better term than entrepreneurial, but they didn't care what, you know, they didn't care about like presenting it in a pretty, like a super, like polished way. It was just use what you got and make something and freaking rock on, man. And I just love that. So, um, this character isn't actually like if you were to just look at the character design of Corn Cob Rob. I mean, he's a skater, so there's that. But like, other than that, like, sort of the way he dresses, you wouldn't really know for sure that like he's a big punk guy or anything. It's not even so much that he's a punk guy. Like he's not gonna look like a punk rocker necessarily. He's just gonna have the punk rock attitude, and like I think the like, so for me to be like, I'm super like into punk, and then like if I all of a sudden started like coloring my hair, or like getting piercings and like doing all this stuff that looks punk, um it would be disingenuous, like, I guess, because it'd be like the whole poser thing. Like, I'm not, I'm a, that's not who I am right now. Maybe if I was in high school, I could make that leap or whatever. But, you know, I don't think that is what punk rock even means. I mean, that, right. That's like wearing the uniform of punk rock. And, that's not what punk rock even is. It, obviously has been that sort of, but back when they first started doing that stuff, it was, from my understanding, that, nobody was dressing like that. This was them trying to stand out, and trying to kind of buck the system and all that stuff. So, I like that subversive attitude, and I think that's more what the heart of punk really is. So however I can do that kind of in my own way, and same thing with my character, really more than that. He's gonna kind of be subversive, and he's for certain things and against certain things. And I don't know, I'm just super excited to create this character, and to tell the story. And I think he's going to end up being an ongoing story if people like it and stuff, because I really, um I don't know, there's something to this guy, and I think he's got that ability to be ongoing. Was it suckle? I don't know what that means. Agree on punk as DIY approach. Why I want to give support where I can to you guys. That's cool, man. I appreciate the support. I'm not sure. All right, it says show or hide. That's weird. There was like a comment it didn't want me to show, and I clicked show from Dave. So I don't know. It's weird. But yeah. So it's funny. Like, I've heard this thing, like, where people say, like, I don't know. There's like this thing where people are saying like conservatism is the new punk rock. I don't know that I buy that, but it's interesting. I think that's more just like, I don't know what that is, but there's something interesting to that, in that like these comics gate people, tend to be on the conservative side, but they're not all conservatives. One of the main ones, the really funny dude, Cecil. He's definitely a liberal, but he loves what Comicsgate represents and stuff. And you know, I'm sure there's others. I haven't been like as um, like, I only know so much about these guys. But anyways, what they're doing to me is kind of punk rock, or it's like, or this idea of like rock star, like somebody who just kind of doesn't give a f about whatever, and just goes at whatever they're into hardcore, and doesn't just doesn't care like what people think. um there's something to that. And that's like what the Image guys did. They just kind of put a little big middle finger up to DC and Marvel, and went their own way, and they killed it. And that was freaking awesome. um and there's a power in that, and I think that's what the Comicsgate guys are doing too. They're very similar to Image, actually, especially when you think about Ethan Van Sciver and I mean, not in their like conservative ideology and stuff, but just in what they're trying to do. They're trying to kind of revolutionize comics to a certain extent, um, and not even just because they're trying to revolutionize as much as just they see a certain thing and they want to make it better. I don't think they're like out to like they're not doing it originally because hey, I want to change comics. You know, they just want to make. They're sick of what they see and they want to make something better. That's all. And everybody's got their own ideas of if that makes sense or whatever, or if they agree with their approach. But I personally dig it. Um, I also dig fairness. The stuff that SJWs say they're about. I do actually dig that. They actually talk about that. They dig that too, having diversity in comics and stuff like that. And I don't mean the YouTube channel, but they're cool with that. But like they don't. They have a certain. They just want quality. And there's I don't know. I don't want to get into all their politics. They can talk about that because I'm not a comic skater. I'm just interested in what they're doing. Um, I want to make this arm kind of going back, and you see the comic, but I don't think it's possible. I'm starting to think maybe it's not possible, but I'm gonna. I always try things that I'm not 100% capable even of doing. I guess that's what you gotta do, especially when you're starting. There's a lot of things that are like that. I mean, it's not my first rodeo, but I'm still a noob compared to, you know, a lot of people. That kind of does it, but it's just kind of awkward looking. I think I'm gonna skip that and do what I originally intended because this isn't looking great. So yeah, super inspired by punk rock, super inspired by people who do punk rock things. You have a system and that's great for you, but I'll stick to my own way. That's what punk is. That's cool. That's interesting. I feel like yes, that's what it is and can be. But I also feel like it's partially, and this isn't necessarily what I'm trying to do, but it seems like it's almost trying to take down the system too. Maybe I'm wrong, and again, I'm very I'm coming in from an outsider, so I don't know for sure, but Image should be defending Comicsgate. It's the same idea that got them started. I would agree. I mean, but the thing is Image is very much. It seems like their books are very much geared towards being sympathetic to SJW type of stuff, and I have no problem with that. But and the thing is they probably think Comicsgate is something that it's not. A lot of people think Comicsgate is something that it's not. Like they think that Comicsgate is against, um, you know, certain gender issues and certain like race stuff, and they're not. They're open to all of that stuff. Um, and so, but because people think that, I mean, it's hard for really anybody at this point to get behind Comicsgate who has something to lose. And you know, the flack that image would get for being supporting it, you know, is a lot. And, they kind of went against the system to start, but I don't know that they're interested in doing that now. And because people think Comicsgate is something that it's not, you know, I don't know that they'd care to even get to understand that distinction, Um, so yeah, I agree, but I don't think it's gonna ever happen, unfortunately. Which is fine. I mean, Comicsgate, they're doing their thing, and they're making it happen on their own, and that's actually kind of more powerful. So you know, but yeah, I think that this kind of the spirit of what they're doing is very similar to the spirit of uh, what Image did. So I agree. Do 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 do. It's weird. I've made a bunch of videos. Well, I've made like 3 videos that have to do with Comicsgate specifically, but for whatever reason, none of those videos like came out well. So like I either deleted them, or there's also one that I have recorded that I could publish, and I'm just not sure. Like I wonder if I should not get into it. I don't know. I mean, I'm talking about it now. I'm not afraid to talk about it, so I might publish that. So we'll see. I also have an interview coming up soon with somebody who's involved with all that. Hopefully, if it works out. I know that they're just really busy, so it's hard to kind of get on with that. But I'm going to be probably being more open, kind of talking about a lot of different things, actually. Not so much politics, but I'll probably end up getting into religion a lot more. Kind of fringe stuff that I think is interesting, things like that. Not like where I'm going to say, like, I don't know. I think it'll be some interesting stuff. Just I'm gonna be a little more bold to get into some of the stuff that I think is interesting that doesn't necessarily relate with comics on my videos. That, and then I have some other series coming up that I'm looking forward to getting into as well. Um, it's funny. I was gonna put the arm behind this side, um, with the comic folded up in his hand, but he doesn't even have it in that hand. So I don't know why I was trying to do that. And actually, I think I might be able to do it here the way in the correct hand. For some reason, it's working out better too. When I draw on this side, it looks more natural. So weird. So yeah, I'm really excited about this comic. What Corn Cob Rob. Basically, he's gonna be in this like this city. I think I'm gonna call the city Hero City. And I don't know how deep I'm gonna get in this, but I'm thinking like there are superheroes in his world, because mostly because I came up with this line that I thought was awesome pertaining to that. So I'm like, oh no, yeah, he has to be in a world where there's superheroes. And as I was creating it, I'm thinking like, you know what? This is like similar to a certain degree of what Kevin Cross is doing with Monkey Mod. I didn't mean for it to be that. I mean, it's not that. Like, Monkey Mod is basically, um, it's a spy comic. It's supposed to be, but it also has to do with, like, punk rock, and obviously Kevin's involved, like, um, enthusiasm for what punk rock is. And I get a lot of my understanding of what punk rock is from Kevin, actually, from hearing him for years. Um, so a little bit as I was creating this, I was like, oh, I hope I'm not kind of stepping on Kevin's, stuff or whatever. Or, like, I'm not trying to do that, Um, so yeah, this panel's kind of done, I think. That means this page is kind of done, actually. Let's see. Um, Done to a certain degree. I mean, I'm gonna go in and do more to it, but like the actual, like, drawing part, I think, like the line work. I know it doesn't look like much. I planned it. I want to color it. Um, but this style is meant to be crude. So if you're looking at it and be like, dude, you can draw better than this. You're right. I can. And the next comic is going to be probably even sort of more crude, but I'm gonna I'm hoping to take a lot of inspiration from, like, old punk zines and just old punk visuals, really. That whole DIY caused them to have a whole kind of look to what they did that was interesting and crazy and awesome. And like their album covers, they would make these things like by hand a lot of times, or do whatever they could had to do to make an album and put it out. um See, I'm also drawing on different layers, like, by accident, and it's annoying. Like, I wish it was all on one layer, and obviously I can put it all on one layer, but I just keep doing that, and it's like, ah, I want it to all be on one layer, but for some reason I keep making new layers or something by accident. Question for me. All right, let's see. Let me go. If they got behind it and explained that it isn't what the SJWs are saying it is, people would look into it and realize that it's about selling indie comics. Oh man, yeah, that would be awesome. Just my opinion, and as always, other opinions are welcome. Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm totally open to whatever, you know. And you could totally disagree with me, and you could be pissed at my opinion, and that would be cool too. I'm down for free speech. Um, Question from Dave Hingley: does Corn Cob Rob have a military background? No. Not that I know of. I mean, I've only just kind of yesterday started putting a story to him, so it's possible, but I don't think so. He's kind of just a plucky dude slash sort of kid. Not kid really, but I don't know what age he is. He's probably somewhere between 20 and 40. Um, is he a colonel? Gotcha. Now I should have read that first. That's awesome. I gotta. People keep sending like jokes to me, like that are just silly like that, and I'm like, oh, I gotta put that in the thing. I didn't even think of that yet. Um, but yeah, like he's that my other another friend on that's funny on Facebook. He's actually my actual friend. Like he lives near me, and we've been friends for years. But he said he said something about like does he come with salt and butter or something like that. I was like, yes. So I actually came up with a line of dialogue or something or exposition that kind of says that a little bit. I don't know. It may or may not be in the comic. We'll see. But that was hilarious. I didn't even think of that kind of aspect because I'm just thinking of him as a character. And I forget, oh, yeah, he is like literally a corn cob. Oh, goodness. I should think of more of that kind of stuff too. But I'm not gonna like probably. I mean, just as like that kind of like little funny thing. I'll maybe probably put it in there, but like, um, it won't be very fun. Like, it's just gonna be a weird like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle type thing where like, um, it's just you almost don't. What after a while, like you don't even remember that like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are turtles, and like the physics of it or whatever. I don't know. Like you do, but you don't. Like you don't care. They're just characters after a certain point. I don't know if that makes sense. And then like some of the other like Cowboy and or what is it, Bebop and Rocksteady. I don't know why I said Cowboy. Um, but just all these different characters. They're really weird and outlandish, but after when they first came out, it was like, what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? What a weird idea, But now that we've had it for many years, it's just like, oh yeah, those are like such an awesome, like it's such an awesome comic and cartoon and whatnot, and you almost don't even think about, you know, I don't feel like drawing these spikes, man. You almost forget though that they're like what they are, whatever that is. So I don't know. It's just interesting. Yeah. So same thing with Corn Cob Rob. You're not going to really stress the fact that he's a corn cob, but you know he is, and it might come into the story just for fun, here and there, just cause. All right, now I think this page is kind of done, line work wise at least. Yeah. Press save, and I think it is time for me to get going. Let's see. Yeah, it's about that time. Using multiple layers is one of the great things about working digital. Use it to your advantage. Yeah, I do, but I also get confused because I'm not used to it. But yeah, you're right. His girlfriend's name is Pepper. I know. Yes, that's awesome. He's gonna be very much a loner, and I haven't even thought about love interests yet. But I don't know. I feel like if he does have a love interest, it'll be like some girl that he kind of hates at first, but grows to love. But he's gonna be one of those like dudes who's like he's hardcore and like you would think he doesn't care about anybody or anything, but you see through his actions that he actually does. He's going to be the one way that I describe him is he's like a punk rock misfit with a heart of gold, basically, and he's always like kind of angry and angsty, but he's actually a really good dude. Um, and yeah, and he hates what he sees around him because it's crazy. So yeah, this is kind of this finished line work. I still have a lot to do, but it's enough for me to move on to the next page. Um, so the next page, I'll show you what these next pages kind of look like. Thumbnail wise, it's all going to be action from here on out. Yeah, and then of course there's the cover that I got to finish. And hopefully I get all this to a good finished state where people can read it. Obviously, if especially for people on the replay, let me know if you're an artist or a comic artist and you feel like you'd be interested in coming on the show here from time to time. Let me know. And again, I do this from about 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. Eastern time on weekdays. Weekends I might do it as well, and that'll probably be a later time. It'll just be kind of randomly here and there. Sometimes I might even do it at different times too than mornings, but mornings tend to be when I'm available. So yeah, if any of you, my art buddies out there, are interested, hit me up. Somewhere, anywhere in the comments or whatever. Let me know if you'd like to be added to the list. Um, and yeah, I'll hit you up. And I may even hit some people up individually from time to time to just do it. Because sometimes when you get a huge crowd, it ends up people are talking over each other too much. And so, it'll be here and there. Like I might send it to the whole group sometimes. Sometimes I might send it to one person. And I'll try to be fair, obviously. And, I don't know. If anybody's interested in chatting, I think it'll be fun. And if you want to read this comic when it's finished, sometime this month it will be finished. Um, hit me up on patreon.com/donkeyjaw projects. And for $1 a month, you can have a new comic every month. And also, one thing is it asks for your home address, and it's not because I'm trying to be weird. It's because I want to send you some free stuff. Um, like for instance, I'll tell you guys right now, this cover once it's finished, it's going to be turned into a postcard. And as soon as I get that printed up, I'm going to send it out to whoever's in the list. So get in on there if you want to be sent some free things from time to time. It won't be every month. It'll be like whenever I can. Hopefully it'll be like at least somewhere around 4 times a year or something like that. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Dave and James here in the live chat. James is saying bye. See you later, man. It was fun. Yeah, and thanks for everybody who's watching on the replay. Hopefully you dug this. I think this was a good one. We had some fun, talked about some interesting things, and I will talk to you on the next video, guys. See you later, Dave. See you, everybody.